It's on now.
Oh, hey everybody. Kevin here. Wait a minute. Steve, you're sitting right next to me. What the heck? Holy cow. We're not Skyping. We're not.
Either
Yeah.
that or we're doing a real good job of editing.
Yes, we are. Hey, no, we're coming from beautiful Denver, Colorado. We're in Steve's playroom, as he likes to call it, and we get to actually commune with you guys together, which just makes me thrilled.
Right, we don't have many opportunities to do that because it requires one of us to travel across the country to spend time at the other's location. But this just happens to be one of those, and so we thought we'd take advantage of that and create a video that is going to be a prelude to our next meetup.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about that.
It's just we're going to talk about the shift, and I know that we've alluded to it a number of times in other videos that we've made, but I think it's a good idea to lay the groundwork for what the keys to the shift is, and what our opening volley of discussions is going to be about. So it is about the shift. It comes with different names, such as the awakening and the lifting of the veil and the raising of humanity's consciousness levels, going to a different dimension. All of these speak to what we're calling the shift, I would say. But you always bring up a great point in that it really what makes this different from a lot of those other terms is the velocity or the quickness that this expansion is going through right at this particular point in humanity's existence. Right.
That's true, and from what I understand, it's been ever since what is known as the harmonic convergence back in 1987.
What? What is that?
That was a point in time in which humanity collectively, on the unconscious level for the most part, and other beings, made the collective decision that we were going to raise the vibration of Earth and humanity in a significant way, and it would not be a comfortable transition, but it's something that we needed to do as humanity in order to move to the next level of our evolution. And that happened at about, like I say, 1987. And so since that time, there has been a quickening of vibration and a rapid raising of humans' consciousness in order to rise to that new level of consciousness, of the ability to perceive in new ways, to take on new spiritual gifts, and become more spiritually evolved.
Wow.
And so that's involved an acceleration in humanity's movement to these higher vibrations, which has not been a comfortable process, but it's something that we all, at least on the unconscious level, collective level, agreed to.
Ah, okay. And I think from my standpoint, this movement is a very love-based, heart-based, intuitive-based action that we're taking. And I think that we're seeing a lot of that in different ways as we're making this shift. And we'll talk about more about letting ego go and the rise of the feminine and things like that, which I think are important aspects of this shift that we're going through. But I think right now, I think it would be important to let people know that moving through this has been somewhat difficult for Steve and myself. We've gone through challenges that we've come out the other side of with some certain tools to be able to continue to navigate this shift. But Steve, you have a great analogy. I'd like you to share it if you don't mind about the letting go of sort of old energy and helping yourself to rise to this new level.
Yeah, so the way I picture it, and I've heard this from others as well, is where I got it from. I can't remember exactly who. I think more than one source has used the analogy of the water level rising. And you're a cork that's weighted down by these old energy belief systems, negative thoughts and self-talk, and lower vibrational energies, which were more or less acceptable in the lower vibrations. But as this water level rises, there's more pressure on this cork to rise, but it's still weighed down by these lower vibrational emotions and beliefs. And so it becomes more uncomfortable as that water level, in this case is the consciousness of humanity, tries to rise and does rise. In fact, it creates a greater stress on your psyche and your internal system in order to try and reach that, move up to that higher level. And in order to alleviate that discomfort, those weights that are holding you down, those lower vibrations, need to be released. And so there's a motivation to do it because it feels uncomfortable. The ego and the way that it presses on us to do things that enhance it become more and more uncomfortable, and we need to address those things. Fears, which kind of lurked in the background before, now come to the surface, and they want to be released because it's really uncomfortable to continue to hang on to them.
Self-loathing.
Self-loathing, envy, jealousy, all those lower emotions now become more in your face and asking you to address them, whereas before you got away with just kind of pushing them back into the background or under the carpet. Now they're saying, you need to do this now or it's really going to feel bad.
Right.
And so that's what we're all experiencing. You and I, Kevin, have experienced a lot of this, and therefore have had to address these, had to find tools in order to find ways to release these things.
Yeah.
And granted, we still have a ways to go. We've let a lot of that stuff go. That's part of the process that everyone, regardless of their spiritual perspective or evolutionary level, everyone is impacted by this.
Right.
Most people unconsciously not aware of the causes behind it.
Yeah, but that uncomfortableness can be embraced by a number of different things, such as losing relationships that are no longer valuable to your own rising. But saying that letting go of those types of relationships is easy to say, but it's painful to do that. And these sometimes have been relationships that we've been associated with all our lives that we're being sort of asked to let go of, and that's not fun. And sometimes there's a feeling of loneliness that you're the only one out there that's going through this, and you don't realize how many brothers and sisters are in the same boat essentially as you are going through this. The self-loathing is a huge one, and we're gonna focus on that one down the road for sure, because loving yourself is such a huge part of this shift, I think, and allows you to love other people and to rise quicker. But I love the cork analogy, because in a low water level, a cork that's weighted down a little bit under the water doesn't feel that pressure so much. But as you're right, as the water level rises, that pressure increases significantly. But the other thing I also want to mention too is that, as difficult as it is to release some of these heavy things, it feels so good when you do that and you see the effect of that rising up and you're feeling it. There's nothing like it, and we've felt that in certain instances before, and you will too as you release some of those heavier aspects of yourself in this shift. So
right, and so that's really the beauty of this. So it's hard to see the beauty of what's happening when you're in the thick of it and you're gasping for air as this water level goes above your head.
Right.
But the beauty is that in the long run, you end up freed of these lower emotions that you've just kind of lived with in the past. And then finally, you've been forced to let go of them, and having let go of them, you have a new sense of freedom. And a sense of self-love that was lacking in the past. So it's a great thing for humanity as a whole and for us as individuals, though it's not pretty in the short term as we find ways and gradually release these old things that don't serve us anymore.
But you know what's great, Steve, is that as a group, as a community, I think we can all get together and help each other find those tools to solve individual problems in dealing with this shift. And so that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
It's also a little self-serving because you guys have tools that you've developed undoubtedly that are going to help Steve and me. So it's a collective. This is not us lecturing and everyone taking notes necessarily. This is a group effort, and we're part of your group and you're part of ours, and we love you.
Right, and we'll be the first to admit we don't have all the answers, and that's part of why we wanted to create this community, is because there are others that have answers that we don't, and just sharing that information rather than there being a teacher and a student, or a leader and a follower, or a guru and a disciple. We like to not go anywhere near those kinds of perspective, but we're all brothers and sisters going through this shift together, and we share what we can in the way of understanding and assistance to one another, and that's what this Keys to the Shift is all about.
You got it, buddy. Well, we look forward to anybody's and everybody's input into this, and we really would like to hear your perspectives on this. Right, Steve? I mean, that's a...
Yes, that's absolutely true. So both in the meetup, in person, as well as on the Facebook page.
Or the YouTube site.
Or the YouTube site. Any of those venues of which this video will be posted. We would love to hear any thoughts and responses. If you don't feel in resonance with what we're saying, tell us about it. Give us your thoughts on it, and we're open to everything and everyone.
You got it. All right.
All right, folks. Well, good to see you again. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, buddy.
Bye.